Are you thinking about moving abroad, making plans for 2021, or just the slightest bit curious about how to become an au pair? Then this video is definitely for you. But first, so step number one is actually deciding on a country that you want to live in. So how you do this is by answering a few questions. So it can be stuff like, do you like warm or cold weather? Do you prefer the mountains or the ocean? Do you mind having a time difference with your family? Or does your country have a cooperations with other countries so that you can apply for a working holiday visa? Or do you mind living in a country where English is not their first language? So by answering all these questions, you will narrow it down to a few different countries, and that way you can research on these countries and you will be able to decide on the country that suits you the best. So step number two is deciding whether you want to go through an organization or if you want to fix everything by yourself. If you go through an organization, they will fix everything for you. So this means this is a very safe option because they will tell you exactly what you need to do, what visas to apply to, how to find your host family, all that stuff. So it's definitely a better option if you are very nervous about this. Maybe this is your first time even like moving from home, then this is a very good option. The big minus with it though is that you have to pay quite a lot of money for them to do everything for you. Meanwhile, if you decide to do everything by yourself, yes, it is a lot more work, but you will save a lot of money. With an organization, they will be there with you throughout the whole trip, and this means that they will be a big safety network for you because if you ever stumble upon any kind of problems, they will be there and help you figure out a solution. Meanwhile, if you go by yourself, you're sort of relying on yourself to fix everything for you unless you find someone nice enough to help you. But this sort of depends on how well you feel like you could handle such a situation. So me personally, I chose to go by myself because I feel like I'm a very independent person. So I knew, of course, that if I ever were to stumble upon any kind of problems, I would have to just find a solution for it. But this is easier said than done, so it's really up to you to decide whichever way you think is the best to go. So either with an organization or by yourself. Step number three is the visa application and also paying all the fees. So if you go through an organization, as I said before, they will help you with everything that comes to that. So they will let you know exactly what you need to do, what forms you have to fill out, and all that stuff. If you go by yourself, however, you will need to find all the information by yourself. So the best way to do this is just Googling au pair, visa, and then the country. And the safest option is really to go onto the government's website and they will let you know the proper information that you need to know. Step number four is finding a host family. So this will be a little bit different depending on if you go through an organization or if you do it by yourself. Through an organization, they will obviously have a platform where you have your profile, and then after a while they will match you with different kinds of families. And then you start interacting with these families and hopefully someone will be a good match, and then you will start having interviews. And in the interview, you sort of determine if you're a good match or not, and then you sort of decide if you want to go ahead and, do this adventure together. Meanwhile, if you do this by yourself, you obviously first have to find a website where you can find a host family, and then you also have to make sure that the family that you choose is a good option, because there's always a risk with this because you're doing it by yourself. You have no one really to contact if the family is treating you badly. So the website that I like to use is Au Pair World, and there you can sort of type in the country you're interested in, the age of the kids that you would like to take care of, how long you would like to stay, and then you will find a ton of different families, and then you can start writing to these families, and if you're lucky, they will reach back. And from there, if everything feels good, you can decide on having an interview, and this usually happens through either Skype or Messenger or whatever platform you choose. A different way to do it is to go through Facebook, where you can type in a group where it's au pair in Melbourne, au pair in London, au pair in New York, you get it. So after you're in that group, there will be a ton of families looking for an au pair, and usually you can even write a post yourself and host families will actually reach out to you. So I have done both. I've gone through Au Pair World, and that's how I found my family that I live with in Switzerland, and I also went through Facebook when I found my family in Australia. So you have to be careful, but you should definitely trust your gut feeling and hopefully you'll end up with a good family. And then we have step number 5. So after you've agreed to live with a family and they have obviously agreed to have you as their au pair, you go ahead and book your plane ticket. And when it comes to the plane ticket, it will sort of depend on what you've agreed upon with your family. So either they will pay the ticket for you or you have to pay it yourself. So there you have it. Those are the steps to become an au pair, and if you feel like you haven't gotten all your questions answered, there are obviously different kinds of platforms that you can go through to find out more information. So for instance, those Facebook groups that I mentioned, you can also ask for help and they will let you know more about the process. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do have any questions, feel free to write one in the comment section and I will answer as best as I can. Other than that, I really hope you've had a great day. Bye!